Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Thank you, you sassy, sultry vixen Stevie Nicks with the sexiest voice in rock and roll for those immortal words that seem to be able to be used quite often when talking about the WNBA. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's dig in to this spin. It is absolutely amazing. I wish here's what we need, folks. Here's what we need. Not just in the WNBA and the coverage of the WNBA, but I think maybe in society in general. And that's bring back some shame, bring back some embarrassment, because ESPN does not seem to have the capacity for either one of those things. What am I talking about? Well, we've got the ratings for the All-Star game. It's going to be spun by the Caitlin Clark lovers and the Hatelens as well because of the number that came in. And you can see right here the insane spin by ESPN. ESPN, ABC, and Disney Plus scored historic viewership for the 25 WNBA All-Star Weekend. They did not. But let's look at this one. I think this is in two images, so I may be able to blow this up for you just a bit. Yeah, here we go. 25 WNBA All-Star Game was the most watched program of the night across all of TV, as it should have been. 2.2 million average viewers, up 158%. That is absolutely an insane number. Think about that, folks. Caitlin Clark, the most popular by far, by any measure, any metric, popular female basketball player of all time. We've seen all the record-breaking ratings, the record-breaking attendance, playing outside in front of 55,000 people while at Iowa, the insane numbers that she drew in the NCAA tournament, her, well, really sophomore, junior, senior, but especially junior and senior year, to where the point where they were outdrawing the men for the first time ever. The 25, I lost track, but mid 20s, right? 23, 24, 25, something like that, million plus viewer games last year, even though the entire league had not had a single one since 2008. And yet that Caitlin Clark did not play, and the viewership was up 158%. Congratulations to the WNBA. This is mind blowing. No one would have thunk it. Wait, hold on, time out. It's my damn producer again. Hold on one sec. What's that? The numbers what? Really? All right, folks. So I didn't read the small print. 2.2 million average viewers, up 158% versus the 2023 WNBA All-Star game. Last year, you see, it turns out, when Caitlin Clark played, it drew 3.44 million viewers. So any reputable news organization would, of course, report this year's numbers versus last year, which would mean it declined 36%. It declined 1.24 million viewers since last season. Isn't that absolutely incredible? This is an embarrassment. This is why I'm talking about embarrassment and shame, because this is not, I have never seen this done anywhere but with regard to Caitlin Clark, because this is not the first time we've seen them spin numbers like this. Now, 2023 it only drew about 850,000 viewers, which, by the way, was far fewer, was about 40%, 35, 40, 45% fewer than what it drew for the 2005 All-Star game, which I think was like 1.1, 1.2 million for that All-Star game. And then we go all the way 18 years later and it's drawing fewer than that as that. So this is, again, the problem. It is clear as day that media has an anti-Caitlin Clark bias, an anti-Caitlin Clark narrative that they want, an anti-Caitlin Clark agenda, however you want to spin it. They do not like Caitlin Clark. They do not want to give Caitlin Clark credit for anything at all. Now, I will say this in talking about these numbers. that is still a big number for the WNBA All-Star game. There's absolutely no doubt about that at all. And while I cannot give you hard numbers on this, so this is what it makes this number so interesting in terms of what the discourse is going to be around it, because there's not going to be any real proof as to what impacted this number, because the Hatelins will use this and they'll say, look, see how much we've grown without Caitlin Clark. This game's up 158% from 2023. However, what they also will not tell you is that anything that is up is still because of the Caitlin Clark effect. It's because it's been impacted by Caitlin Clark. And I can tell you this again, I cannot give you a hard number as to how many, but I can tell you it is, I've seen enough. I've talked with enough Caitlin Clark fans. All of you can comment below and let me know as well that a whole lot of Caitlin Clark fans tuned into this game, one, to support Aaliyah Boston, to support Kelsey Mitchell. By the way, the same thing as you see the skills the skills ratings for the skills competition on Friday, 1.3 million. That actually is up from last year. Isn't that that's the other thing I'd like to point out, which is absolutely wild. For the skills, because it was up last year, although Caitlin Clark did not compete in that. She played in the All-Star game, obviously. She did not compete in the skills competition. But Caitlin Clark was in the WNBA. Obviously, a lot of people tuned into that just because of, again, the Caitlin Clark effect. And so they tell you it's up 89% versus last year. So why, for the skills competition, do you tell us it's up 89% over last year, which, by the way, makes sense? That's how you should be reporting the number if you're going to talk about growth. But then for the All-Star game, for whatever reason, you decided to say, hey, we're not going to compare this to last year's number because it's down 1.24 million people. It is down 36%. No, for the All-Star game, for whatever reason, just randomly decided to do it, I guess. They decided to skip last year and compare it to the year before. But again, Lexi Hall entered the three-point shooting contest. The whole weekend was obviously in Indiana. For the All-Star game, you had Caitlin Clark fans tuning in to watch Kelsey Mitchell, tuning in to watch Aaliyah Boston, tuning in. And I will say this, yes, a whole lot of them were tuning in because Caitlin Clark, simply because Caitlin Clark was going to be on the bench. Caitlin Clark was going to be involved in coaching because, again, it's just the All-Star game, right? And so, the camera was going to be on her a lot. She talked before it about wanting to get a technical in the All-Star game and so on and so forth. So a lot of fans did tune in to watch Caitlin Clark. A lot of fans did tune in to watch Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston because, again, for a lot of you probably know this, a lot of fans, I've seen it before, and some of it I think is, for me, it's a little too far. It's a little odd, but I've seen people were buying DeWanna Bonner jerseys and Natasha Howard jerseys because for them that was somehow supporting Caitlin Clark. And I'm not trashing that. I wouldn't do it. And I think a lot of people are regretting both the Bonner and the Howard jersey purchases. But my point being, if people are spending money to buy a DeWanna Bonner jersey because they are Caitlin Clark fans and they want to support Caitlin Clark by supporting her teammates, absolutely. Caitlin Clark fans are tuning into this All-Star game because it's in Indy, because Caitlin Clark has teammates playing, because Caitlin Clark is going to be on the bench. And let's face it, Caitlin Clark, a lot of people love to say, oh, she doesn't have any personality. Caitlin Clark has a ton of personality, but also, more importantly, she just has a whole lot of charisma. Her haters will never admit that, but she does. People want to watch her. People want to see what she's going to do. And so people find her more entertaining watching Caitlin Clark on the bench than they do watching a typical WNBA basketball game. That is just the truth. So this number is huge. It is huge over 2023. It's bizarre that ESPN talked about the skills competition in relation to last year because it was up, but then talked about the All-Star game in relation to 2 years previous because it was down significantly over last year. And again, I have to emphasize, because I'll get it in the comments, it is definitely up over 2023. I'm sure there are a few people who were fans that tuned in because of it, but let's face it, a significant part of this is the Caitlin Clark effect. I think the league knows that. It's going to be really, really interesting as the CBA negotiations continue to ramp up, how those numbers are spun by both sides. But let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. And also, did you watch and did you really tune in to one, support Caitlin Clark's teammates who were playing, and to just pay attention to what Caitlin Clark was up to on the sideline? Or were you like, I don't care about Caitlin Clark at all. I don't care about her teammates. I'm just tuning in because it is the greatest basketball I have ever seen. I want to watch as much WNBA content as I possibly can in my life to make it more fulfilling. Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all of you so much. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.